She's zooming and driving. I can barely get on Zoom.
She's something. As long as she's not singing. She usually drive and sing.
Good evening, folks.
Good evening, Leader.
Good evening, leader.
Okay, Madam Clerk, are we ready?
We are ready now.
Thank you. Okay. I'd like to call the Committee on Ordinance public hearing Monday, October 26th at 5:35 to order. Madam Clerk, could you kindly read the roll?
Chairwoman Ryan.
Present.
Vice Chairwoman Castillo.
Present.
Councilman Narducci.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Harris.
Present.
Councilor Miller.
Present.
You have a quorum, all are present.
Thank you very much. Okay, folks, so this is a public hearing. I'd like to ask the clerk to read item number 1 into the record.
Madam Chair, before we proceed with that, can we notice that Etty is present and if she can give us her statement?
Wonderful, thank you.
You're welcome.
We are graced with the presence of the one and only Etty Lee Sharp, who is our premier city solicitor. Could you kindly acknowledge your presence and state for the record the legality of this meeting?
Certainly, and thank you very much for that very warm introduction. I very much appreciate it. Consistent with the Governor of Rhode Island's executive order regarding the Open Meetings Act, meetings may be held virtually and be compliant to the Open Meetings Act, just like this meeting.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Anything else, Madam Clerk? We're good? Okay. All right. Let's read item 1 into the record, please.
Petition from Nicholas J. Heeman Esquire, Darrell Everett LLP, 1 Turkhead Place, Suite 1200, Providence, Rhode Island, 02903, was requesting a zone change for the property located on Assessors Plat 65, Lot 384, 109 Canton Street, from R3 to C1.
Wonderful. Committee members, everybody has received their package today, right? So you all have the package before you?
I have mine, Majority Leader.
Okay. Okay, so no one has signed up to speak on this matter, so we have Bob Azar. Would you kindly speak to the committee and also put this matter on record? Tell us about what this change is all about.
Madam Chair, can I interrupt for 1 second? I never received the packet today, but I think I'm well aware with the items that are going on.
You didn't receive your package?
No.
Okay, that's troubling. Thank you, and we'll look into that.
Thank you.
Ms. Azar,
Yes,
tell us what this is all about.
thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank
Yes.
you. Okay, I have a new microphone, so hopefully it's working well.
Your
this is
camera's working well.
My what?
Your camera's working well.
Yes, good, including my my day-old scruff here. High definition. So this is a petition by the owners of the property on Chalkstone Avenue that currently has a Family Dollar retail store on it. They have acquired a piece of property abutting theirs that fronts on Canton Street, and right now it has a house on it. The proposal is that they would they'd like to expand the business, expand the retail store towards the south to the back, and in order to do that, they would like to have a little bit more land. They have acquired this house on Canton Street. They would like to demolish it to enable the expansion of the building, as well as a reconfiguration of the parking configuration behind the building. And I think that pretty much sums it up. The circulation that they're proposing would have another curb cut to get into this parking lot from Canton, and one on the other side street, I believe it's Berlin. I would defer to the owner's representative as to the specifics of the traffic circulation. But you have a recommendation from the City Plan Commission that considered this, and they have advised in favor of it, subject to a few conditions relating to improving landscaping on the site, and also working with my department on improvements to the building to bring it into closer conformance with the building and design standards of the zone. Right now, the building facing the street leaves something to be desired. So we think that there could be some improvements to that. Also, the City Plan Commission made recommendations about improving site lighting and also security around the building, because there had been some concerns expressed about that.
Okay. The petitioner's attorney, are you with us today? Do we have?
I am, yes.
And who is that?
John
Not Nick
Restivo.
Heeman.
It says Nick Heeman under my name, but I think that's just because I clicked the link that he forwarded me.
Okay, no worries. So for the record, please state your name again, please, for the record.
John Restivo.
Okay, representing the petitioner,
That's
correct?
correct. Yep.
Okay. Are you aware of the recommendations from the CPC, and is your client willing to accept those recommendations?
Yes, they are.
Okay. Okay, wonderful. Anyone else? No one else has signed up to speak on this matter? Anyone else?
Madam Chair, I do not see the person that signed up to speak on this matter.
Okay. All righty. Well, we'll conclude this matter and move to the next one. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
She wants to be let in the building? Who can we let have her in? You want to just stand at ease?
Yes.
Okay. Folks, we're going to stand at ease for just a moment, please.
I am waiting in my computer. I'm trying to get in my phone.
Councilman, we're just at ease for a moment, okay? We're going to be coming right back. Okay, folks, we're back. Everybody with us? Is my committee here? Everybody back?
I'm here.
We're good. Thank you. I'm so sorry. Madam Clerk, could you kindly read item 2 into the record?
Petition from John J. Guarantee Law LLC, 2088 Broad Street, Cranston, Rhode Island, 02905, dated August 24th, 2020, requesting a zone change for the property located on Assessors Plat 2, Lot 15, 50 Ashburton Street, from M1 to MMU 75.
Wonderful. Okay. Let me see. No one has signed up to speak on this matter?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay. Mr. Azar, could you kindly present this to the committee?
Yes, this is this property is occupied by a mill building that has long been vacant. Ashburton Street is right at the where Interstate 95 and Route 146 come together. It's across the street from Snookers. That might be a landmark that people recognize. And this property is in the M1 zone, which is an industrial zone that does not permit residences. And the owner of the property wishes, or the purchaser, I believe, wishes to convert this building for residential development. And that's a use that we support to keep this building in productive use. It's also a historic structure in the industrial and commercial buildings historic district. So we feel that this type of reuse would be appropriate. This came before the City Plan Commission last week, and they felt that this rezoning would be consistent with the comprehensive plan and the purposes of zoning from M1 to MMU, which is also an industrial zone, but it allows for residential uses. The commission did note that this is in an area that the comprehensive plan describes as a jobs district, which is primarily for job generation and business. But given the fact that it's sort of on an island unto itself, bounded by the highways, the railroad tracks, and Ashburton Street, there are no direct abutters. They felt that this would certainly be an appropriate use in that area, and again found this consistent with the comprehensive plan and its policies for creating housing. They made they advised us that eventually we should revise the comprehensive plan, future land use map, but did not consider that to be critical in order to move this zoning amendment forward.
Thank you, Mr. Azar. We have a letter. We've received a letter from the CPC dated October 22nd to the Ordinance Committee, basically summarizing what Mr. Azar has presented. A recommendation unanimously voted to recommend the approval of this zone change. May I have a motion to enter this into the record as Exhibit 2A? Motion made by Vice Chair Castillo, seconded by Councilman Narducci. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Okay. All right. Do we have the petitioner's attorney, Mr. Garrahy?
Madam Chair.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Nice to see everybody under these circumstances.
Good to see you as well. Do you have anything to add?
Very little. I think Mr. Azar covered it very, very well. This is kind of, as you probably know, very iconic. I didn't realize it was Ashburton Street, but you and I probably go down this way many times coming from our homes going to downtown on the way to downtown through the Marriott. I do remember when this was a manufacturing facility, unfortunately, was a casket company. I do remember that. So it may be an historic building, but it's not that old. But essentially the use of it is going to be for residential dwelling, loft dwelling. And my client does have a purchase agreement to purchase it and to develop it into 34 rental units or rental or condominium units as appropriate.
Wonderful. We need more housing units. That's
And
great.
And as I said at the CPC meeting, it's hot for development. And there is this question of whether it was in the jobs district or not. It is kind of on an island unto itself. So it's not really affected by any other developments. The MU district is entirely appropriate because it talks about being for the reuse of old industrial buildings as well as higher density residential. So I think it's entirely appropriate to make this designation from M1 to MMU, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Garrity. Okay, seeing that there's no other testimony to be presented, let's move on to, we're going to close out item 2. Madam Clerk, kindly read item 3 into the record.
Petition from Brett W. Goodell, Chase, Ruttenberg, and Freeman LLC dated August 27, 2020, requesting a zone change for the property located on Assessors Plat 23, lots 27 through 35, 743 and 83, 1642 Somerset Street from R3 to C2.
Thank you very much. Before we get started on this, we've got a CPC letter. I'd like to add as an exhibit 3A. May I have a motion to do so from my committee?
Motion made.
Made by Councilman Narducci, seconded by Vice Chair Castillo. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion passes. Okay, so we have exhibit A entered. 3A, Mr. Azar, could you kindly present this to the committee?
Yes, this is a petition to make a zoning change to accommodate a multifamily dwelling. This is, many of you will know this piece of property, all of these lots as the site of the Barbara Jordan 2 housing complex, which is a series of triple deckers. Those properties have been vacant for some time, and working with Rhode Island Housing, Omni Development Corporation has, along with the Wingate companies, is now the designated developer. And in addition to building a handful of smaller houses on the Barbara Jordan properties, the sort of centerpiece of this development is a multifamily dwelling. I can't recall how many units, but it's over 50 units, 54 units, give or take. And in order for that to happen, this land has to be rezoned. Right now it's zoned R3, which just allows 3-family houses on separate lots. This multifamily building requires a zone that allows for higher density. In working with the representatives, we all agreed that the best zoning for this property would be C2, but with a condition that said that the development is limited to 2, 3, and multifamily dwellings. This is a pretty standard condition when we expand a commercial zone outside of a commercial corridor. This is directly adjacent to the commercial corridor along Broad Street. So this came in front of the City Plan Commission last week in conjunction with the land development project itself. The commission approved the project and also made a recommendation to you that you approve the zoning. Once the zoning is approved, the project can receive final plan approval and move forward to provide much needed affordable housing in South Providence. So the commission made a recommendation to you, finding the zoning change consistent with the comprehensive plan and the purposes of zoning, and advises that you adopt the ordinance change with the condition that the uses on the subject lots be limited to 2-family, 3-family, and multifamily housing.
Okay. Do we have anyone from the petitioner, the developer here? Mr. Garrity, would you like to speak on this matter? Oh, you're muted. Can't hear you, John. Can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I was trying to unmute myself and it took a while. Madam Chair, thank you very much. I do represent the the applicant, Omni Development. So if I may just indicate, we have a little bit of a presentation for you, and I hope it's in accordance with your procedures.
Absolutely.
Virginia Branch, who's the architect, is running the program. The thought would be that I would make a 1-minute presentation, and then Sharon Morris of Omni Development would give a presentation with respect to the process that has taken place. Virginia Branch would give a short presentation with respect to the architectural and the development. And then Ashley Sweet, planner, would give a short presentation with respect to consistency with the comprehensive plan. Madam Chairman, I hope that's okay and meets with your approval.
Absolutely. Please continue.
Thank you. So,
John, can everybody see the screen?
yes.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
So, Madam Chair, and this is kind of a little bit like preaching to the choir, if I may. Lita Harris has been a champion with respect to this process. And as you know, the process is sometimes as important as the end product. And this project has gone through an extensive community process in order to have all of the community have input with respect to what's going to be here. And again, Lita Harris has been terrific with respect to it. And she knows, and I will say, that this is transformational, that what's going to happen here is going to transform this neighborhood, transform the people that are going to be living here, and transform their lives. And it is a bullseye with respect to the comprehensive plan, Objective H3, Housing for All. So this has been a process that has been in place for a long time. Rhode Island Housing has spearheaded it, went out for proposals. Omni and Wingate was the winner of the proposals with this proposal that we're going to show you. And really, it just shows you that a little change in the law with respect to zoning can make all the difference. As many of us remember, Biden-Jordan 2, back 30 years ago, was an attempt, as you can see, to have 2- and 3-family projects. It didn't work. And so this project includes 54 units in this multifamily dwelling, as well as 20 units spread throughout the community. And Virginia is going to explain that to you. But it is really going to be an effort to really revitalize this area. So Sharon, who's the executive director of Omni Development, is going to do an explanation with respect to the process and how we got here. And then Virginia and then Ashley will make presentations. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much.
Sharon? Is Sharon?
Sharon, are you with us? Madam Clerk, do we have Sharon with us? Doesn't appear to be. Do we want to have someone else present at this point and then?
Maybe, yes. Virginia, maybe if you can, and maybe someone can call Sharon to see if she can get on, if she's available.
Perfect.
I thought I saw her name, maybe she got bumped off. I'll do my best.
Okay. Please identify yourself for the record.
Okay. My name is Virginia Branch. I'm an architect with DBVW Architects. We're at 111 Chestnut Street in Providence.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's important to point out that Sharon grew up in this neighborhood and has a real passion for what we're doing here for a lot of reasons. It's not just her job. We've been working as a team for over a year now with Omni and Wingate, and it's been a really smooth process for us. We all have a really similar vision and excitement for this project and are working really well together. There were a number of community engagement meetings that happened that were sponsored by Rhode Island Housing prior to our selection, and members of our team attended all of these meetings. And then since then, the mission has been to continue community engagement through all sorts of outreach in various locations throughout the neighborhood. We've had, I've taken part in one recently where we've been continuing to introduce our ideas as we've developed them to the committee, to the community. We just recently had a meeting via Zoom that included DARE and the South Providence Neighborhood Association. And there's continuing to be plans to increase that engagement as we move along. I think this site shows some of the feedback that came back through the process with Rhode Island Housing as concerns, ideas, thoughts that neighbors had about how we would move forward. And I think that the most important factor is to understand that we are intending to have as many residents who were formerly living in Barbara Jordan 2 to have the ability to come back into the new development. That the idea that this is a displacement is, we hope to be communicating that to everybody, that is not what we're doing here.
Madam Chair, can I interrupt for 1 minute? Sharon had indicated that she is on, but needs to be admitted. I don't know if the clerk can do that through, as see her in the.
We're gonna give it a go.
Okay.
Does she have a specific name that she's logged in under?
I think Sharon Morris.
Oh, there, I saw it. Go up. Yep, slide up. There it is.
Do you see Ashley Sweet? So,
good evening. Sorry about that.
hey, Sharon.
No problem.
I'm glad you're here.
Yes. Good job, Virginia.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I think you.
Okay, folks. Okay, let's just. So what do we have? Sharon Morris is in, correct, Madam Clerk?
She is in.
And unmuted.
Yes.
Virginia, would you like to yield to Sharon at this point?
Yes, please.
Is that the intention?
Yes.
Okay. So Sharon, could you kindly introduce yourself for the record? And I just want to thank Virginia for stepping in while we waited for that little technical issue.
That's okay.
And
Good evening.
sorry, Sharon, that we didn't find you right away. But please.
Yep, thank you. Sharon Morris, Executive Director of Omni Development Corporation. And I just wanted to continue where Virginia left off, just to stress the importance that we work with the community engagement process from the time that Rhode Island Housing commissioned their community engagement process. And then once that process was completed, Omni continued to do their own community engagement before we submitted our application for Barbara Jordan 2. And then most recently, we did a series of community engagement meetings since we were selected in July of 2020. And we also held another community engagement meeting just this past September. So we are focusing on what the community shared as their interest. And as you can see on this slide right here, these are the goals of our development: providing permanent affordable housing, hiring local contractors, making sure that there is a various types of affordable housing, like townhouses and apartments, single level, multi-level apartments, and more importantly, the ability to provide affordable housing for former tenants that lived at the Barbara Jordan apartments. And this was just an article that we were featured in, our development, Barbara Jordan 2, Omni and Wingate. We were featured in the New England Real Estate Journal. And it just highlights the commitment and our goal to transform this neighborhood and to try to enhance the quality of life for the residents that live in South Providence. So our focus is just making sure that the residents have quality, affordable housing. Thank you. Virginia?
Yep. So thanks, Sharon. My colleague Carissa Coons and I are available to take any questions, but I'll walk you through some of the imagery. I think, we're here to talk about the 54 unit building that's at the center of the page here. But the project is a broader scope than that and includes a series of townhouses that will be constructed along Portland Street, 6-unit and 4-unit townhouse buildings, and then a scattering of 2-unit, a flat on the ground floor and maybe a townhouse upstairs, scattered out where we had single lots. This is the northern portion of the site. And then there's another area just to the south a little bit along Taylor and Harvard, where we're doing 3-unit townhouse, 4-unit townhouse, and a couple of other 2-unit residences. This is giving you the flavor of the types of buildings that are scattered throughout the neighborhood. These are the townhouse and 2-family houses. I think that what's important to note here is that the development that we're proposing to replace, I think we've all been really sensitive to the fact that there are people that have good memories of living here, and we don't want to take that away. But the fact is that the buildings that were moved here were stripped of their historic quality. They were placed on concrete block foundations. The layouts that were the houses were reconfigured inside, and the layouts that we've seen don't really line up with how people live now. They're smaller rooms, very enclosed, and I think people are looking for a different way of living. So we're wanting to transform this neighborhood, and there's not a lot of opportunities to do something like this other than right here where there's this many contiguous lots. One thing that was important to us in thinking about asking for a change to a C2 is the fact that Somerset Street already has a bit of a commercial component to it. From moving from Broad Street down toward Friendship and Pine, there are already corner lots that have office use or a market or an Amos house at the corner. And we think that this larger building will not seem so out of place here with that in mind along Summer Street. And I also want to point out that the existing buildings that are there are actually about 4 stories tall because they're elevated out of the ground. They have gable roofs. So some of these are 3 stories, some of these are 3.5 stories. But in general, the building that we're proposing, the height is similar to the height of the buildings that's here. So it's not going to feel like we're dwarfing the other houses. Here's just a zoomed in on our site. This is the site in question. So 54 units with parking, 1 curb cut entrance off of Somerset and 1 curb cut entrance off of Portland Street, providing 54 parking spaces. So 1 parking space per unit off street. And the entirety of the building is residential. There are some common areas on the first floor at the corner, where that would be the management office, a community space, a shared laundry, and those types of things that make sense to be on the street and at the corner and central to people inside the building. Now this, I set this up deliberately to show a similar view to that photograph that we looked at a minute ago, just to give you a sense of scale and how, the mansard building and then stepping down to the commercial uses at Friendship and Pine is appropriate, and working with the city plan regulations for setbacks and, ins and outs along the elevation and appropriate window sizes, getting a lot of glass in there, having an overhanging cornice. These are all things that add to helping our building fit in with the neighborhood. We're also looking at traditional materials, brick at the ground floor, clapboards above, very residential style architecture here with an overhanging cornice. And you can see we will have, multiple entrances into the building, but the the focus of the entrance from the from the public point of view would be the management office at the corner, and tenants would be able to come in here too, but there are also entrances from the parking lot for them. So looking back toward Broad Street, I think this further illustrates our connection to Broad Street and the rationale for having this converted to C2. Looking around the corner, one design strategy was to create a private garden area inside the L. We see this as an area for our tenants to have some outdoor space. It would be, pretty simply programmed, not a playground, but just a green space for families to sit outside. Maybe, in the time of COVID, it's nice to have some outside space where we can meet. But this is not intended to be a public park. And I wanted to include, just to give you an idea of a more hardline drawing of where we are right now, working with our civil engineer on how we're dealing with stormwater, how we're dealing with trash, the amount of landscaping that we're providing. All of these elements were approved with the City Plan Commission hearing last week. And I'd like to pass it to Ashley Sweet.
So, Madam Chair, Ashley is a planner who has extensive experience in the area of planning and land use, and I've asked her to talk to you about the project's consistency with the comprehensive plan.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chairwoman and members of the committee. My job in this project was
Please
to
identify yourself, Ashley,
I'm
for
sorry.
the record. No worries.
Ashley Sweet. I'm a project manager with Weston and Sampson at offices in Foxborough, Massachusetts. So my role in this project was to take a look at what was designed for the site and to make sure that we could show consistency with the comprehensive plan. So here's just a quick overview for you of some of the sections that I found in going through the comprehensive plan that talked about the importance of redevelopment of underutilized sites, having partnerships with the city's CDCs, promoting some architectural diversity, and remediating, trouble spots in the city that were detrimental to neighborhood character. Definitely a focus on rehabilitation and redevelopment. Also talking about working with Rhode Island Housing for partnerships, supporting for nonprofit organizations, collaboration for the development of affordable housing, revitalizing neighborhood vacant lots and vacant homes, and really discovering the potential for redevelopment opportunities of those vacant properties. More specifically, you have a neighborhood plan that addresses this area, which is identified as Trinity Square. And some of the highlights from that neighborhood plan specific to this area of the city, again, talked about improving the character of the residential neighborhood, remediating and targeting those vacant parcels, and revitalizing them and reestablishing housing in those areas. And as I said, this lot is focused on Trinity Square. You can see the map, the neighborhood context map that is identified as Trinity Square in your neighborhood plan. And it was identified as an area that was appropriate for some form of mixed use development. It's transitional to the area of downtown. And so as part of this development project, we had to go to your City Plan Commission for minor land development. We were there last week and we were very pleased to have an approval of the minor land development project that Virginia went over. I won't go through all of those again. But that was, our project. We showed consistency with our project to the City Plan Commission, that we were consistent with their zoning ordinance. We meet all of the requirements of the zoning ordinance. We did not have to ask for any waivers or any relief on this design. So we were very pleased with that. We feel that fits in well with the city's idea of what should be developed. And we feel very strongly that we've hit all of those targets in your comprehensive plan and in your neighborhood plan specifically for this area for redevelopment, revitalization, partnerships, and to bring back some affordable housing to the area.
Madam Chair, the only thing I would add to that is what Ashley had indicated, that once the zone change is made, there are no variances, adjustments, modifications required. It's consistent with all the regulations. That's our presentation.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much all for your presentation. Madam Clerk, do we have no one registered to speak on this matter, correct?
No, Madam Chair, we did not.
Okay. Anyone else want to speak on this matter from the petitioner? You guys are all set?
All set.
Okay, awesome. Someone just say? Okay. All right, that concludes the public hearing piece of this meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn from the committee. May I have a motion?
Motion made.
Motion made by Councilman Narducci, seconded by Councilwoman Harris. All in favor? Aye. Ayes have it. Motion passes. We're in adjourned. The public.
See you all at the next meeting.
Right. Thank you. So now we're going to come back, folks.
I'm gonna go join the other meeting, folks, okay? See you all there.